And so, as we're going now to our final topic of the day, it's interesting because we talked about the team at Perfect Sports as far as how building up that empire, as far as the athletes that endorse it, and the constant theme as far as the people you're surrounding yourself with and how you're building up your lifestyle. And we're coming back, we talk about that 15-year-old Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe he wasn't in the gym, he learned karate, and where you brought that realm of your life, but the Dungeons and Dragons never really escaped, and the love of comics. You still show some of your old illustrations online, and now, it's funny because people watching this and knowing Bruce Calero will say, what are they talking about, weightlifting, and they're talking about karate and MMA and supplements. I know him as a lifestyle photographer.
Yes.
We save the best for last.
Yes. This is quite often the favorite topic when people discuss things with me.
And there was a part of me that wasn't even going to discuss it because I'm so in this world with you that I wasn't even aware of that part of it at all. And I looked and I'm like, there must be another Bruce Calero out there.
Yeah, that's happened to me.
I figured it must be two guys. And I'm like, no, this is the same guy.
Yeah.
How? Why? Where? So please, Bruce, walk us through this. How? The man has spent so much time building up his career and his empire. Where does this man have time to be a world-renowned photographer and photographing supermodels?
It was a fluke. I did an illustration of one of my ex-girlfriends in a Star Wars sort of illustration. And
Princess Leia?
No, it was a stormtrooper.
Okay.
And Playboy contacted me and saying, we'd like to use one of your illustrations for a cover. I'm like, who the f is this?
You thought somebody's like grabbing your leg here, for sure.
For sure. I mean, to get into Playboy is huge, but to get a cover off the bat is just never happens.
Yes.
So from there,
what year is this roughly now?
2010, maybe.
Okay, so this has been the last 10 years. It's that part of the empire has grown.
I've been.
So at this point, Perfect Sports is going.
Yep.
Life is good. The brand is growing.
Yep.
And then you get this cover opportunity.
This opportunity to.
So that's where it first hit.
Yeah. I had an illustration appear on the cover of Playboy.
See, I would have guessed, you're taking a bunch of photographing for maybe, some models in the area.
I did do that for the supplement company.
Yes.
This is sort of an indication of my mindset. I learned photography just simply because I didn't want to. Let's say I was going to hire you to be a photographer.
Yes.
That means now I have to tell you the image that I want to see. This is the image I see in my mind. I need you to give me that. And I'm like, it's taking way too much time. I'm just going to learn how to shoot myself. And so I just decided upon myself one day that I'm just going to learn photography. And I just did it. I started shooting models, started shooting the athletes, and on the side, I was still doing my illustrations of comic book characters and sci-fi characters. So what I did is I developed a sort of formula of incorporating 3D work, how they sort of do it in the movies today, and my photos as well into it. And then I would literally draw on top of it. And so my work is a blend of photography, 3D work, and illustration. And people seem to like my work. And it just grew from there. So right now I'm doing comic book covers, and I do that. To me is just, I love it.
You're like, it's like, to me, like being a ring announcer or being a commentator in WWE, or being a manager for one of the wrestlers out there, that's like the level, and you're doing it. Like you're literally living out that dream.
Well, you manifest what it is. In my mind, and here's the secret about what I do.
Yes.
In my mind, I'm never here today. In my mind, if something's happening, I'm like, that's done. I've got this. This is done. My mindset is always in the future. I don't look at things as maybe. I look at things as this happened. This is gonna happen. And then if it doesn't happen, I take a look at it like, you know what? That shouldn't have happened. That wasn't the right thing. If I had gotten that, it would have screwed up the trajectory of something else, or it would have been bad for me. I always, in my mind, look at things as it's an achieved deal. It's done. And I just believe that you put that energy out in the universe and it manifests. If you're like lazy, or you're just, depressed or sad about shit, oh, I'm never going to get that, or that girl's too pretty for me to talk to, or I'm never going to, man, you believe like that's a done deal. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. And the universe delivers you what you put out in your mind.
You know, Dan Milstein calls them Johnny on the couches, you know, those people that live on their couch, go on their computer and troll, you know, and try to put negativity out there.
Oh yeah,
you know, sure. and they often they're doing their 9-to-5 job, you know, they're not working out, they're not eating well because they're saying, I have no time. And here you are running Perfect Sports. Owning
I don't run it. Like I
Sorry.
give the direction of the ship. Again, I don't want to take credit.
Yes.
I say where we want to go.
Yes.
This is what I want to see happen. This is the message I want imparted. And then I have the people that make it happen.
The founder and visionary of Perfect Sports.
Take that.
So we have that. We talked about your training habits.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about photography and illustration.
Yeah.
What you're doing in the photography world alone, like that for most people is beyond a full-time job, you know?
Yeah.
And here, it is only part of you. And again, it's how do you find the hours? Like, do you ever get calls for magazines for shoots that you have to turn down?
Yes, there's magazines that I don't want to work for. There's women or there's models that I don't want to shoot.
Okay.
Just simply because they're drama queens.
Yes.
Again, it goes back to being surrounded by people you want to surround yourself with. So if there's a problem child that I know of, I just don't want to deal with them.
So even if Playboy calls you and tells you, Bruce, here's a blank check, you write the amount, but we need you to work with her.
Nah. Like money is not my focus in life anymore.
Okay.
And everyone says that like, well, he's got money, so that's why he doesn't care about money. And that's true. Once you achieve a certain position in your life that you're comfortable with, then you start to focus on other things. For Perfect Sports now, my focus is not on making more money. It's taking the brand to the position that in my mind, it already is. It's the #1 global brand. In my mind, that's already a done deal. So now it's reality catching up with me. That's what my focus is. For me, the artwork, the illustration, the comic books, it's like, it's again, a gift to me that someone comes up to me. So there's a friend of mine who owns Gotham Central in Mississauga. That's where I buy my comic books. And he sent me a message the other day. He's like, dude, you know how much your comic books are selling for on eBay? I'm like, people selling my comic books? And so I looked, and people are taking my comic books and selling them for like $80 to $100. Like that's.
And what's the cover on them? Like, what's the list price on them?
$2. Really? Yeah.
Wow.
And these are unsigned copies,
yes.
Man. So
with inflation, we got to get you at least to $5-6.
Yeah. I mean, the very fact that people are willing to pay that kind of money for something that I've done out of love, again, is a huge fucking gift.
So how do you pick, as far as which ventures from the photography, from the comic book artwork world, how do you pick which gigs you go with, who you work with? Do what you love,
man.
Yeah.
Like I'm fortunate in my life that I get to do it. I get to choose to do things that I love. I get to choose people that I want to work with. I am no longer in the position where I have to do something. And that is a dangerous position of freedom, because now nobody holds you hostage, right? I don't want to work with that person.
But do you ever have certain publications or certain models where you pick up the phone and say, you know what, I like your work, I think we should work together? Or is it you do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's not just them calling you. You still actively seek out.
Yeah. If I like a look of a person, or I like something that they're doing, I'll gladly say, listen, I'll shoot you for free. I want to do something with you. Because to me, it's the presentation of that image that I have in my head. It's not about the money, because clearly people are selling my comic books and I'm not getting from it.
Right.
It's just being able to put in here, out there, and then have the ability for you to say, dude, I love that photo. That picture is awesome. Like, to me, that makes my day, man.
Have you had the scenario where you drew out a comic book and spent God knows how many hours putting it together and saying, you know what, I don't like the quality, this is not me, and just threw it out the garbage? Have you had photo shoots where you looked at the final job and you're saying, I can't put my name to this, we got to reshoot this thing or just cancel it?
Absolutely. You know, I was out on the weekend with my girlfriend and I saw an image that I did. And I'm like, you know, I'm also, to me, you know, someone will say to you, what is your best image? And I'm always like, the next one. So there is work that I have done that by other people's standards they like, but in my mind, I don't like. I had a bad run-in with a model recently. Out of 16 photos, she didn't like 2, and the chick had a mental breakdown, just went ballistic on me. You know, in a scenario like that, you are subject to people's perspective, people's own personal taste.
Yes.
You can't hold yourself sort of hostage to the response for everybody. If the masses like what you're doing, great. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like what you do. And that's not only about artwork, but your life as well. That's why I tell people at the end of the day, look in the mirror. If you're okay with what you did that day, that is gold. That's the best.
Thank you for enjoying today's episode of the Chosen Life podcast. Go ahead and hit the subscription button below and the notification bell to catch all of our great shows. And remember to contact the Chosen Lawyers when you are ready for your next real estate and commercial transaction. Go to cormans.ca.